Hi, I'm Ben Loyd-Holmes. You're listening to Hellblazer Biz with Chris Gordon.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. This is Hellblazer Biz with your host, as always, me, Chris Gordon. Today's guest has been in films like Skyfall, Bond, can you believe it? Wow. He's also known for his roles in Torchwood, and most recently for writing and appearing in Knights of the Damned, which is a new film involving knights and zombies and female warriors, mermaids, the lot. What more could you ask for? Without further ado, I introduce you to Ben Loyd-Holmes. Good evening, everyone. I am here tonight with Ben Loyd-Holmes, who is the creator and also starring in Knights of the Damned, which is coming out, I believe, next year, from talking to Ross earlier. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. That's okay. He's allowed to say that.
I did question him and pry him on that one about when we can see it, because it does sound an exciting project to be in.
Yeah, we're sort of we want it out as soon as possible as well. But I think sort of April, May time next year we should have the release. But there'll be lots of stuff coming out before then. We've got some teasers and some trailers and some little excerpts that people will be able to see pretty soon. Actually, so it's quite exciting.
Fantastic. It does sound great. The more of you guys I'm speaking to, the sort of the I'm getting the build up going as well, and feeling it myself. So it's a kind of genre that I love. So I mean, you're not just an actor. You actually create things as well. But your resume for acting is pretty damn impressive. You've been on
It's very kind of you.
You're looking back. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I've got it up in front. Band of Brothers, which is one of my all-time favourite series.
Yeah.
Is Band of Brothers. I'm going to just ask you about that quickly. What was that like? Because that must have been an immensely...
Yeah, I mean, it's I think Band of Brothers, anyone who did that, it was a really, really amazing thing to do because now, of course, there's so many set extensions and you're in quite a big set sometimes, but still there's green screens and this and that and the other. But then, it wasn't that it wasn't possible. It was harder, certainly, but they just decided to do it on a very real scale. Yeah. And these gigantic, really gigantic sets that were entire towns that you could run between towns. Mm-hmm. So you'd be doing some of the big battle sequences. I'm sure you remember. It's run from the forest into the town, and they're all they were really built. So when as an actor you're on a show like that, you're just swept up in the scale of it. And I think not necessarily one day, but over a couple of days, they had 1,000 extras on set per day.
Wow.
So if you think about just the sheer volume of people, 1,000 extras, then you've got obviously the actors, and you've got the crew, you've got the costuming those, it's gigantic. So it was just an amazing thing to be a part of in every way. And of course, you're just surrounded by so much talent and so many cool people. It was, it was a very cool show to be a bit.
It was. Like you say, the talent that you're around. There's so many guests and cameos in there, and it was just phenomenal. And I just think overall, the whole experience was just an amazing show, and it's going to be a legacy, I think, for everyone to be watching.
Yeah, I think so. I think the other thing, which I think for a lot of viewers, they really loved watching the bits with some of the real guys.
Yes, that was tears streaming down my face most of the time.
And for us as actors, when you met a lot of those guys, it was really cool. Even if the guy you were playing, he wasn't still alive, you're just meeting some of the men who really were there and who were then in situ looking at that town as they remember it. It's a very powerful thing. And I think as an actor, if you're playing any role, you want to do it justice. But suddenly, when you're doing something that really happened, and there's some kind of sort of historical significance, and it's very meaningful for a huge amount of people, you've got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and it's kind of cool, but also a little intimidating.
I can imagine. I actually met Shane Taylor last year at a Comic-Con. I made friends with me and Doc Rowe as well, and he said the same sort of thing. Obviously, I think Doc Rowe hadn't passed away when he met him.
Yeah.
But I did reenacting years ago. That was the closest I ever got to it, was the 101st Airborne. And I know friends of mine actually met Babe and Bill Garnier. They came over, I think, must have been about 2005, 2006. I couldn't make it, I was working. But they met them, and it was brilliant. But I did research, and I ended up being a lifelong I've been a lifelong honorary member of the Camp Toccoa Historical Society
Really?
for the research that I was doing for it. So
Very cool. Yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show, and it was yeah, had a lot of fun on it. We had a lot of fun. I remember one day we were, because you're doing quite long days, and and you sort of get a bit mischievous when there's that many men around each other. You sort of become 5-year-olds again. And I remember one day I managed to get hold of some electrical, no, well, not very electrical, but I guess industrial strength cable ties. When we'd sit down and have lunch, you'd leave most of your webbing on, or you'd leave some of your gear on at least, because you just got so used to it.
Yeah.
When they're drilling us, doing these boot camps all the time, making us soldiers. So one day I sort of walked along the back of one side of these tables and sort of said to the guys on the other side, "Shh, don't say what I'm doing." And I cable tied the guys' webbing to their chairs. So that when they would stand up, it would hit them in the back of their legs. They'd fall backwards or whatever. And then I sort of at that point then walked around the other side of the table and did it to the guys I've just been saying shush to. So both sides of the table were just sitting there waiting for the other side to stand up after. And of course, it was just catastrophe when they did. But we had a lot of fun. It's all just nice people, and we all just messed about a lot. And
fantastic. It's always good to hear good stories like that, joking around.
Yeah. Can't take it too seriously.
Well, yeah, exactly. Life's only, you only get to live once, though.
Exactly, yeah.
Fun.
Exactly.
I'm going to say, going through the other things, Torchwood as well. That's another global phenomenal cult.
Yeah. And then I've got to be honest, the Torchwood fans are such lovely people. And when I did Torchwood, a friend of mine said, it's got such a strong fan base, it's going to sort of change things a little bit for you. And never met such a nice bunch of people. There's literally not one of them has got a nasty word to say about anyone, it seems. So when you started getting invited to the conventions and that kind of thing, which was a bit of a strange thing for me, as in I sort of did say, why does anyone want my autograph? And my dad said, he goes, look, you've sort of grown up around people or you work with lots of people who do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you sort of take it for granted a little bit, but for a lot of other people, they haven't. And, it's exciting. And I sort of went there and literally, I think on day one I was terrified, but by day two I was definitely thinking I was Brad Pitt. This is brilliant. Great. Again, just really lovely people and a great show to be a part of,
Definitely. It was a good show. It was nice. There's a lot of spin-offs which don't work very well, but Torchwood was one which was brilliant.
Yeah,
those guys always come to Wales Comic Con as well, which is this weekend, which I'm going to, and I think there's a couple there
Jamie,
as well.
Jamie runs that, doesn't he?
Yeah, Jamie does. Yeah,
Jamie's a lovely guy as well. Actually, I did a couple of Wales Comic Cons for him. He's just a nice guy, and again, all those people around that are just really really nice people, aren't they?
They are. Yeah, I mean, I don't go to normal Comic Cons as much because they're so big. And you end up spending a fortune. I do at Wales Comic Con anyway, to be fair, but. I think the difference between the Wales Comic Con and Jamie can know me for this because I'm plugging him here.
Yeah,
is the fact it's just a friendly environment, and like you say, there is a special kind of friendliness and a family sort of vibe about Wales Comic Con with all the guests and the visitors. Sorry, I'm laughing at your dog.
Sorry, the dog. He's been sitting here chilling out, doing absolutely nothing, and then. He's suddenly started wanting to have a play fight while I'm trying to do this. And he's looking at me like, why aren't you doing it? I don't know if you can just about see him.
Yeah, I can. Gorgeous dog.
Logie, stop it. Right, please, I'm trying to work. Literally, all day I've been sitting, typing, whatever. He's been chilling out, sleeping. Yeah. Now I'm not paying him any attention.
Yeah, he wants
to play fight. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right. No, fine. It's I'll skip through the other things. I mean, Skyfall. Right. You've been, Bond.
Yeah.
How more cool can that be?
Yeah, well, it could have been a bit cooler because I was supposed to be playing someone else in it, actually.
Right.
And then it all went a bit wrong last minute, and they decided to cast someone else because they thought it would look better having two different ethnicities fighting rather than, and I was very frustrated. And actually, I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing the guard on the bridge. And then everyone said, Ben, have a word with yourself. It's Bond. The thing is, being part of a film like that is amazing. Getting to work with, Judy is just amazing. Dame Judi Dench. she's just lovely, and Sam, the director Sam Mendes, is just really cool as well.
Yeah.
So it sort of went, for me, it's a bittersweet, actually, Bob. It's a great thing to have done, a great thing to do, but because it was going to be a different role, it was sort of it was that's all. But yeah, still a great thing to have done. I mean, I'm sure Ross probably said this. I'm sure I remember him saying it in your interview. Like, as actors, so much of it is so uncertain all the time.
Yeah.
And, God, I know so many actors, really, I mean, much more talented than I am, who you just haven't had a day's work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so it's not, I'm not being ungrateful, but it's one of those things that, when you come so close to just something really amazing.
Yeah.
And then sort of the thing that you get instead is still fantastic in anyone's book, but when you sort of know that it could have been this other thing, sometimes it's Bond was great.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I can in a way feel where you're coming from, because this podcast I actually did the TV pitch. Someone was looking for shows to go on, and I've got a cracking idea for this show.
But I mean, that's it, but also, there's that great adage, which is the champion has got up more times than the loser, and that's what you're doing. You take a hit and you just keep adapting, you keep pushing forward, you keep going. There's a lot of people would have just said, "Oh," and done nothing, and I think that's true for the surviving actors. It's true for the surviving entrepreneurs. It's true for anyone who's doing something in the same way that you are, or I am, or any of the guys you've been talking to are. Is that you take those hits, you come close, but keep going.
Exactly. I mean, for every guest that I get like yourself, there's about 100 knockbacks or 100 people who just don't respond at all, even though I've spent. It's just one of those. I think it's Ross told it perfectly. It was passion. You've got to have that passion. If you don't have that passion behind you, you just give up. Yeah,
I mean, because it's too hard otherwise, isn't it? You've got to love it. You've got to absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, definitely. The amount of evenings you spend just sitting there, just like, no.
Yeah, totally.
Excellent. Right, so I'll move on to my first actual question I've got for you. Is what kind of made you decide to get into acting in the first place? Because
I must have had a head injury, I think. No, I mean, I did it a little bit when I was a kid, and sort of fell into a little bit of child acting here and there. I was a ready brick kid and a Pampers baby, which is just shameful, isn't it? But I sort of did little bits like that, and then I managed to get a couple of, because I did a bit of martial arts and stuff, so I managed to get on a few things from having a few physical skills. And being a little bit in the right place and the right time, and it sort of gave me a bit of a taste for it. And then, I sort of did Gladiator, that opening sequence in Gladiator.
Cool, yeah.
So I sort of did that and a little bit on one of the Star Wars movies, and I thought, this is kind of fun. This is kind of cool. And I'd sort of fallen into it really at that point, and then I sort of went away and did some other bits and pieces, sort of left it because I didn't really have enough, I guess, knowledge about it and a deeper working knowledge of it. And I sort of decided that it was, there was something that was pulling me back to it. And I guess I love the idea of storytelling. And I love that my whole life, really, that whole idea of taking, a story, an idea, a concept, and conveying that.
Yeah.
And, I sort of like that. I like that idea, whether it's scary or whether it's inspiring, that you can do so much with it and you can move people and you can make them feel something. And that, as an actor, I felt that was something that could be a really great way to do that, to tell a story and to sort of convey something. Of course, what I didn't realise at the time was getting a chance to do that is not easy. Getting a chance to actually act and convey a message and a feeling or whatever isn't easy because, of course, getting a role is tough. But I think I used the experiences that I had to try and get me, in front of the right people and, and just, I guess, doing the right thing. But it was really just a real passion for storytelling. Yeah, that's what sort of led me to it.
All right, excellent. Okay, so that passion for storytelling as well is the reason why you're doing the writing as well now. And that more, you're actually writing the stories. which is like, I guess, the next natural step, really, isn't it? It's sort of writing and directing and that kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly, taking that storytelling thing and